the mic will work. What a great turnout. What a great tribute to the university and to your swimming and diving program. Kind of feels like move-in day outside with the weather. That's what I was thinking. It was certainly hot when I came in, and I know that I think Dave Dixon chewed me out for a whole semester because there was no sunshine and all humidity his first year here. What you get for bringing in people from Denver. I want to start off with a thank you to all the people that worked so hard to put this together and get you all here. Good grief. Ryan McHugh. Where's Ryan? Could you stand up, please? Ryan and Paul Ricard and Justin Dankovich. They've been working, folks, for months on this. And over on the office staff, Brenda Birch, I don't know how many hours she put in just getting out the contacts and putting everything together. Thank you very much. And of course, each and every one of you for making an effort to come back here. Come from all parts of the country. And we didn't schedule this during the low-cost travel time. I noticed that. Some of you probably put in a pretty penny to get here. Hope you're at least staying for 2 days, and not being like Bill Lewis and coming up and then turning around and going back home right away. Special recognition to two of the finest friends a man could ever be blessed with. Dave Jennings, our former women's coach over here. Confidant. He's been the one that helped me keep the faith sometimes when you wondered whether you could or not. And made me enjoy every day over at Billings. And almost every other day over here. Is Greg Wilson here? Greg come up? I don't think Greg made it. He was also one of our former women's coaches here. One of our most loyal alums. He was my former landlord when I was a GA. He was the women's coach at the time. And one of our most loyal alums. Probably, I would say he would be a consistent voice that's always been heard by the athletic department, development office to support us. And the team liked him too because while his wife was making money for the family, he was an Archway cookie distributor, and we used to get the orange frosted cookies all the time. That would make people smile. You got to watch out. I got written notes this time. Usually I don't use written notes, and so that means I've thought this through, and I don't know if that's a good thing. Where is he going today? That direction doesn't seem to make sense. Okay. Stability, obedience, conversion. Anybody want to know what those are? Stability, obedience, and conversion. They're three of the vows that a monk takes if he joins a Benedictine monastery. Also poverty, but I didn't want to. Stability of place and stability of relationships, right? To make lifelong commitments to a place and to people and to the relationships that you have. It allows a strong focus on the development of a community of relationships or at the place. And you're there for life. Obedience to a set of rules and behavior. Benedictines even have St. Benedict's rule, and it's got like 88 of them, and you do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. And it gives the rules of which they all agree to abide by. Everybody's going to be controlled by the same set of rules. And then the concept of conversion, that there's a long-term conversion in terms of who you are and what you become. Obviously, those folks are working on becoming persons of God or seeking perfection. And now I know I could look over here, where the rookies are saying, where is he going now? What is this guy talking about? Why is it important? Because our universities, folks, were based upon the medieval concept of a monastery and education and the functions of education. And we sit here and have similar purposes. The university is here to provide a safe, stable environment for us, right? Where we can take risks, where we can engage in learning, where we can challenge ourselves. And I use the phrase with the guys all the time, where you can take your individual moral gyro compass and see whether that really works. Dad promised me that hard work always pays off. How come it doesn't? Or maybe if you went to class. No. And it's a place where, over time, it's going to change you. It's going to shape you into what you're going to become as a person, as an adult. And that's what's supposed to happen here. And if you look around a university, you say, why do we do this? Why do we spend all this money on athletics? Right? Because of those purposes. And I want to read something to you. I always have to go back. We have a building named after this man. Listen to the words of Dean Etheridge in the 1968 M book. This is a handbook they used to give rookies when you came in. This is how you're supposed to behave. Okay? All right. Living together, working together, playing together, as closely as we do in Oxford, presents a life greatly different from that which you're leaving. Addressing to freshmen. There will be social conditions that will sorely tax your ingenuity. There will be cultural and academic activities which vie strongly for your attention and your social life. There will be times when you will have a keen desire to be home among more familiar surroundings. Boy, rookie year, 6-week mark. All right? Soon, however, you will become very familiar with the pathways and folkways of the campus and will begin to learn to make your presence felt. It's then that the excitement of learning and the desire to achieve and change, will begin to make your presence felt. And it may prompt some of us to reflect on an old biblical injunction. See how the husbandman waiteth for precious fruit of the earth, how long patience for it, until he receive the early and later rain. So be ye patient. Folks, if anybody's worked at Miami for any length of time, you learn how to be patient. He says, we invite you to become an active and responsible member of the academic community. Interesting. Become a member of our academic community. So here we see two Miami values, two core values that I think distinguish us from other places. The excitement of learning and the desire to achieve and change. Desire to achieve and change ourselves. Folks, it may not be stated on a handout or one of those little values cards that we get, but those two ideas wrap around everything here on this campus. The profs we have push you hard. They want you to do well. They want to slam your head up against the wall. They want to see if they can get a mini-me out of you. They want you to do well. The huge number of activities that are offered on this campus, so you can find some place to challenge yourself and excel. The relative isolation and relative safety and beauty of the campus, well, and at least some parts of Oxford from what I've seen. On the second thing, we may not think of obedience in the traditional sense, do what I say, right? But is what is learning pathways and folkways of the campus other than internalizing the values of the community? That's what it is, right? You come and you learn how to act and behave in certain ways because of the environment that you placed yourself in. And as Miamians, we would all add to the vows of stability, obedience, and conversion his injunction to be ye patient. And I would suggest when we're designing pools, when we're waiting for great facilities to be finished, sometimes when we're waiting just to get the degree done, we have to be patient. What's that got to do with us? I think everything. Okay? Teammates contribute and control the environment that you're going to be in. When you've got great teams, that environment is stable. You can take risks. You learn to trust each other. When it's not, you got a lot of work to do. And we've all had teams where we've been in those situations here. While there aren't any dormitory visitation rules anymore, or Art, Dave, and people of my generation and before, you still don't have required meals in coat and tie, Sundays and Thursdays in the dining halls. And the university isn't as overt about the rules it used to have. You can bet your coach and teammates enforce rules and set expectations both formally and informally for you. In any way, no different than a monastery as far as I'm concerned. Even in Florida, it is a monastery. You see your teammates and your coaches every day. Every day. You don't see your profs every day. You don't even see your social friends every day, right? But every day, you see those. When everybody's all in, as they say, amazing things occur. And we begin to experience what Dietrich Bonhoeffer, Protestant resistor to Nazism, called life together, right? And we see that on teams. When we get to a point where we're enjoying our lives together, amazing things happen. Amazing things happen. And and we change because we have here a desire to achieve. Every school has something that they focus on. Some schools emphasize leadership. They look at it, leadership. Some emphasize duty. Some emphasize courage. Some emphasize creativity. Some emphasize service to the community. But at Miami, we've always emphasized accomplishment and achievement in its many various forms. It's what we talk about, right? It's what we sing about. And we always talk about being a champion. That's been here as long as I can remember. Art, you can remember Raymond Ray talking about Bill Mulligan and what Bill Mulligan ate, what Bill Mulligan when he went to bed, and how he studied for his classes, right? And even Schoenbeck learned, now, please excuse the colors because he was still using, but he said the same thing. He would emphasize persistence. Those who stay will be champions. That's all you had to do, just stick around, right? And the studies show, for football, if you stay 4 years, you make more money than anybody else in your cohort. Not the same in swimming. Swimming is 3 years. You know? I shouldn't say, well, that's neither. That's not because you couldn't swim, it's because you're getting these blasted internships and everything else that started out earlier. And I would say to you who've been here the last 8 or 9 years, you remember we were talking about a culture of champions. Now we're talking about graduating champions, right? And there are so many great definitions of what's it take to be a champion. I remember when we went through the drill with the last AD. I think it was Carolyn. Is Carolyn still here? There she is. Didn't we, you and I and Rico, have to sit down and we were talking about thrashing out definitions of champion?
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And one of the definitions that's there, folks, is a not very well used definition of champion. But it's one that I think is always central. And that is champion as a verb, right? One who takes or makes his cause the needs of others and the needs of the community. To champion a cause other than your own. To be part of something bigger than yourself. Back to Bonhoeffer, life and community. So why do we do this with swimming? We got a lot of sports. We've got a lot of sports. You can learn all of these things in those sports. And I would suggest to you there are a few things that we do that you can't learn in the other sports. Look at the unique perspective. When you're competing, there's no timeouts. Although I think I saw a few of you try. There's no timeouts. You can't hear any coaching. That's probably a good thing when I'm swearing. You can't see any signals, unless it's, oh my God. And you're sitting here, you can't hear the play being called. Right? I find it interesting that sports that are like that, male sports, most of those are getting cut. Right? Where you're in a situation where you can't have a timeout and you're on your own. We've got to have a little higher level of control. Excuse me for that. The other thing that, other than the contact sports, if you're a diver, you have immediate, and painful feedback if your concentration fails, right? If I could have that immediate, painful where is it, Hutch? No, when you take a breath, or you take your legs off before you touch the wall, if there could be the same pain that a diver feels when they smack, you guys would be so fast. In the other sports, they put all this padding on in case they crash into somebody and make a mistake. And the one thing you all have to do in this silly sport, you have to get in the water. There is a point of no return every day. And it doesn't make any difference if it's the hot tub or you're down in Florida counting the jellyfish that I say are, don't worry, they're going out. But you have to sit there. You've got to do it. You've got to do it. And that point of no return be repeated from the time you were 4 when mom or dad was throwing you in the pool to the last swim at conference championship. That's central to who you are. You learn that you have to make decisions and you have to act on them in a way that I don't think happens sometimes in other places. You've got the group mentality that goes on with it. So all these factors, I think, make us pretty unique. They make you very self-reliant to the point that some people can't stand being around you because, don't you listen to me. Nope, I know what I'm doing it right. I like to say that. Pretty good grades, pretty good competitors, great teammates, significant contributors to society. When I see and hear the stories of what you all are doing, I'm sitting there, what have I missed out on? Good Lord. And I would say that I think most of all I'm seeing or hearing of lives that are very well lived. And I think you pick that up from the people that you bump up against, the communities that you've created. And I could have gone through and wanted to talk about the number of people that we've got that have been athletes of the year and this, that, and the other thing. You all know that. It's part of who we are. It's part of what our expectations are when we get here. And you all hold yourselves still to extremely high standards. I don't know what the threat was that you guys put out to get everybody here. But it's pretty good. It's pretty good. So as we get ready for a new chapter in Miami swimming and diving, know that we're in good hands with Coach Lee. We're in good hands with Coach Carrington. We're in good hands with Coach Bonnewitt-Kroll. Know that there's going to be changes, significant changes, right? And it's going to be very, very exciting to see what can happen when you harness the resources of the two teams and you get things coordinated. So when you're swimming up against one of those green teams, there are lots of people on the deck, right? There is a lot of focus. One of the things that I like that Coach Bonnewitt-Kroll said in the same conversation she had, first conversation she had with me, she said, when I was at Ohio, we were so intimidated by Miami University. The guys were scared to death of Miami University. We were scared to death of Miami University, right? And I want that team to be and have that presence. That's what we need to do. And she's so very right. If there's been a weakness in Pete Lindsay's coaching, there's been plenty of it, all right? Not quite enough emphasis on the competitiveness. Not quite enough emphasis on the refusal to accept second best. And that's kind of out of my background. Some of the teams that I worked with, I saw significant mental damage to the teams that were very successful. And we see that in the papers all the time. I don't regret that. I don't regret that. But I do think that we are capable of much better competitive performances. And we're standing on a very, very strong foundation that you guys have created. Thanks for the honor of serving 31 years. Appreciate it.